I'm Eggy Drago. I am the cream of the crop. I am the yolk on top. I'm a part-time video store clerk, a part-time brawler. Oh yeah, and a full-time human being. Wow. When I went to Tokyo back in February 2024, I went to an idol concert on a whim because my VTuber Oshi, who graduated, was into that scene. Needless to say, I got hooked. Yeah, I think we bought too many Checkies. After talking to a few idols, I realized every single one of them has a story, be it why they chased this dream, their ups and downs, and even their future after all this. And that's what I'm here to do. Learn more about the idol culture, the various scenes around the world, and to give them a platform to tell their stories. Every idol has a dream and a story to tell. This is IDOLEYEZ.
My name is Rina Kiden. I am your electric themed purple idol dancing on your nearby electric poles.
An idol hailing from the Pacific Northwest, representing several different groups. We'll speak to Rina about her history in the idol scene and her recent solo debut at Otakon. All eyes on me. IDOLEYEZ, Northwest Idol Fest Arc, Episode 24. Rina Kiden. Tonight. Whoa. Echo. Hello. Hello. I am the cream of the crop. I am the yolk on top. This is Mighty Eggy Drago, and we are here for, I guess, the final episode of the Northwest Idol Fest arc of IDOLEYEZ, episode 24, with our guest tonight, hailing from the Pacific Northwest, representing several groups such as Code Meow, Lilium, Stars, and several other groups. She is a fantastic dancer. She made her solo debut on the East Coast literally 2 months ago. This is Rina Kiden.
Ooh, I'm
Rina,
so happy to be here.
how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm doing good. Just in busy for Northwest prep season. But yeah, very happy to be here and happy to officially meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for accepting this invitation. I'm usually scared guest doesn't accept, but thank you so much. Yeah. But before we start this interview, as always, we have to do ad read, a mandatory ad read, as we are kind of sponsored by Lights. Lights? Yeah, Lights. How can we light up the live? At Lights, we make your moments shine brighter. Whether you're heading to a concert, a party, or any exciting event, we've got you covered with concert pen lights, light sticks, UOs, colored glow sticks, and accessories that take your experience to the next level. Looking for something special? We also offer customized product in bulk, perfect for connecting fans with idols and making your event unforgettable. Check us out at yeahlights.com and follow us on not X, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at yeahlights. And here we go. Every single time we start an IDOLEYEZ guest interview, as we take you back to the past. And I'm gonna ask you, Rina, who or what got you into idol culture / J-pop culture?
So this is really interesting because I feel a little bit like I wandered into idol culture a little bit by accident. So I started kind of the entire J-pop journey on the odotamita side of things. And do you
It's like
just for
dance covers,
yeah,
right? Okay.
dance covers, yes. So literal translation is like I tried to dance this. So that's kind of the scene that I started in. It was very like and I guess the before that was it was one of my high school best friends that got me into it. A small group of our friends had like started a little group, and I actually joined later because at first I kind of saw what they were doing and I was like, I don't know what you guys are dancing to, but I don't know, you guys seem like you're having fun. And then later I was like, actually I want to try that. So we so my high school friends got me kind of into like the beginnings of like J-pop Vocaloid type things, mostly Vocaloid songs, like really classic Vocaloid, like Luca Luca, Night Fever, Happy Synthesizer, like that era of Vocaloid. And so that's kind of where I started, was just like the old Otamita scene was like, we're all making videos at home or like in the park or something. And like, it's all very like homemade, like we're all just posting videos of us dancing in our rooms and, or in our case, like sneaking onto a middle school campus to film things. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I started. And it was mostly just dance covers. Like, I see a cool choreography online, I'm going to learn that. I think that looks really cool. And yeah, I think over time this kind of morphed into the idol scene as well. There was a lot of overlap, and a lot of folks in the Kaigai idol scene. I don't think I knew what a Kaigai idol was until like maybe 2-3 years ago. So like the term idol was not even really part of it for me. It was just like, I do this weird weeb dancing stuff. um so that was, yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Do you remember your first dance cover that you like posted and like
Yes.
like performed?
It was Mr. Music.
Ooh.
It older Vocaloid. The original video that I was referencing was Miyume, one of my favorite odorite from Japan. And she's still one of my favorites. And I covered that, like, again, just drove to a nearby park. One of my high school friends helped me film. I had long hair back then. It's a fun video to pull up. But yeah, that was my first one. And then I can't remember if I did that before we did our first group dance, which was Bad End Night. There were 4 of us from my high school friend group that did that together. And yeah, that was a fun time.
So
Yeah.
that was around like 2015, right?
Yes,
Okay.
around 2015 was around when I started. And yeah, it was, I'm trying to remember. Okay, I'm aging myself a little bit here, but like I
That's
was
fine. I'm
kind of
old.
end of high school era, beginning of college era was when I started getting into it. And it was kind of hard to like get into this while I'm a student, like, and I know a lot of people are still doing this to this day where they're like students and they're trying to figure out how to fit in idol activities, but it was very much like, I'm going to come to my dorm room from class that day, and I'm going to practice this dance in the crammed space between dorm bunk beds in front of my $20 Target mirror. That was kind of what the vibe was at the time.
So you did started in 2015, did covers, dance covers. Then later around what, like 2022, you joined another like idol group called.
Yeah, I can back up a little bit,
Okay,
like
okay.
if we're trying to go for full timeline. So my very first group was that high school friend group, and that was my group, a group called Nelements, and every member's name was based on a different element, like you would have in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Honestly, we really liked Avatar: The Last Airbender, and so that's where my old name Lightning came from. So that was like because I think we had already had fire, like the main air, fire, water, earth spoken for, based on people who had started there and like friends, guests who had done videos with. So by the time it got to me, I was like looking at sub elements, like we had an ice, and so I was like, okay, I was really obsessed with Pikachu at the time. So I picked Lightning, and that's why my name was Lightning for so long. And of course, that being like my like hometown friend group, we all kind of like when we got to college era, we kind of split off into our separate ways. Some of us moved, and then I was kind of just looking at like, who can I do this with? And I tried in college. I tried really hard to get some of my friends into this. Didn't really work. But I was meeting friends online who were into this, and among those people I met online. I think the first couple of people that I like started talking to more that I still talk to today are CM, leader of Code Meow, and Dandy, who like we were like just doing our own thing at the time, to had our own YouTube channels. And I we a bunch of us are participated in these things called Oto team battles, which were online dance competitions. You are encouraged to meet people or work with people that you've never worked with before, and form a team, remotely do a dance collab, and then like post that online. So I did a couple of those, and from one of the last ones that I did, we three of us, CM, me, and Dandy, were all realized we're all based on the West Coast, and we're like, we could do something in person. We could try to do something in person. And eventually Code Meow was born. I skipped like 5 steps in there, but from there, like Code Meow eventually was born. And yeah, so Code Meow formed, I think, in 2019. I think like spring 2019. Yeah. And so that was like technically the next like group that I did after Elements, sorry. Like that was the next group that I like officially participated in. And then yeah, in 2022, I think is when I joined Lilium Stars, which is the cosplay dance group that I participate in.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of got the timelines a little bit confused. Okay.
It's okay. No,
it was like.
Okay. I mean, part of the tricky thing was that Code Meow was kind of stuck in planning limbo for a long time because of the pandemic.
I see. Yeah.
And so we didn't like get to post anything that we were working on until much, much later. So, but yeah, we started in 2019.
Okay. So, origin story with Code Meow. How did you come up with the name and the concept?
Yeah. So, okay. I'm trying to remember. We were definitely brainstorming the name a lot, and like we kind of started with a bunch of different theme ideas. We have like the cat themes. We have, I think we started with like a secret agent theme at some point as well, and then at some point it changed into a space theme, and then that kind of got thrown out the window anyway. But we had a lot of time to talk about concepts. But while we were naming, we were thinking about like kind of a secret agent theme and like cat. I think that was kind of the ones that we were focused on at the time. So the code part being very like code names, like you're a secret agent. And Meow was kind of a pun based on like cat meow. And the spelling and capitalization of it comes from emphasizing the ow, which is, I think, one of the many Japanese words for blue. And because blue was one of the colors that we'd picked for our theme at the time. So, yeah.
Neat. Very interesting concept. Very interesting, like, I guess, like, naming convention, because, like, you got the colon in there, and it's, and, like, the mix of, like, uppercase and lowercase, so neat.
Yeah. I'm gonna admit the uppercase, lowercase thing, if I feel like it's a pattern among multiple Japanese artists. That's like, I really like Garnadelia. Yeah. And I think the pattern of lowercasing all of your eyes just happened to fit in with it. And we were like, yeah, we like how that looks.
Yeah, like one of my Oshis, her name is like Ria, but like it's all caps R-A, and the I is like just lowercase. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one. Yeah, and I think who else does it? There's another singer that I know who does that. But yeah, it's a fun pattern.
So, with the concept down, you got some members. How did you find the other members of Code Meow?
Yeah, so when we first formed, from our Oto team battle group, and that original group was like 5 people for just that Oto team battle, and two of them live a little bit further away. But that was a group that we had called Impure, for the one-time project, and it was really fun. We did Little Scarlet Bad Girl, and we filmed that like in the woods. We all got matching red capes. It was really, really fun. So from there, the three of us that were based on the West Coast were like, yeah, we could start planning something in person. We started like slowly trying to recruit people. And so Dandy recruited Kai. They've known each other for like a really, really long time. And like grew up in the same area. And I invited Zippy, who is also a former member of Nelements. Former, we technically didn't disband, but but yeah, I recruited Zippy, high school best friend, and I was like, yeah, I could drag you into doing some of these dances for a little bit longer. um, and we also opened auditions at the time, so we recruited a few more folks from that, and that was our first set of people. We definitely had some roster changes over time, because our initial debut was supposed to be in March 2020.
Oh.
Guess what else happened in March 2020?
Well, Panini.
So yeah, the pandemic definitely slowed down activities for a little bit because we were supposed to perform at a convention in California called AnimeCon, and we were gonna like that was gonna be our first time all meeting up together. That we practiced some dances beforehand at home that we'd like synced up our practice videos to, and that was supposed to be, in fact, I'm pretty sure at the time it was supposed to be a one-time project. Like we were just going to be at that con.
And that's it?
Um,
Wow. What?
yeah, it was a lot of effort for a one-time project, right? But I think at the time I didn't really have a concept of like us being a ongoing team because I'd been doing like Oto team battles or like online collaborations. I'm very used to things just being like a one-time thing. And also we don't all live in the same place.
Right.
Like how were we gonna keep doing that? But yeah, so we were going to perform in March 2020. Did not happen. Kind of forced us to take a really big step back and think like, okay, what do we actually want to do with this? Like, we're all really sad because we've prepared this entire performance that didn't get to do. Are we gonna meet up when pandemic is over? Which, we all thought it was gonna be 2 weeks, right?
Oh.
So, we were like, are we gonna meet up when this is all over and just like film everything? Because all of us, up to this point, had been like soloists who just film our own things. Like we film our own dance videos. So we're like, okay, we could just film a collaboration or something, or yeah, what else do we want to do with this? And so I think we spent a long time. Quarantine forces you to spend a long time just sitting and talking and thinking about it. Like, what do you want to do? And I think at that point, like, we definitely had some roster shifts. Like, some folks decided, like, hey, I didn't think this was going to be this long, or some folks had life circumstances change because a lot of people had life circumstances change through the pandemic. And so we had some folks leave. We reopened auditions. I think once we figured out like what we were actually doing, and then we met up for our actual like debut concert stream, which was like essentially the show that we were going to do in March 2020, but recorded in live streamed, and also like edited slightly like dance MV style, but also like it's still a concert for us because we got to live stream it. So yeah, that's kind of how our debut eventually actually happened. And then at that point we'd had shifted and recruited some different folks. But I think when we opened auditions, it was just like an online like post of like, hey, can you meet up in this place at this time, and do you want to do these dances? Yeah.
Taking it back a bit.
Yeah.
Before, I guess, like, I'm gonna ask you, and I'm gonna ask the other members of Code Meow, like, in general, did you guys have like any experience, like, performing on stage and two dancing? Did you have like any dance classes, or were you just like all self-taught?
I would say for like J-pop style dances, lots of just watching videos online and learning it myself at home. But this is definitely going to vary a lot from member to member. For me, I didn't take a lot of like of actual like dance classes in like adjacent areas until like a little bit later, like kind of once I started doing this. And I was like, I should maybe take a hip hop class and like have somebody teach me like hip hop foundations that isn't just like me copying a video off the internet. Um, so I've done like a couple of like one-off classes here and there for like hip hop. There's one that I actually went to a class with Amanda. That was jazz funk. That one was really fun. But in terms of like overarching experience, I've mentioned this a little bit online as well, but I also do pole dance, which is, you know, very, very different than the style of dancing that we're doing for this kind of thing. But it that is also kind of where I got my first like feet wet for like making choreography, because it's a lot of like I'm taught this move and this move. I'm gonna string that together into a sequence and just see how that goes. And I also used to teach pole dance as well for a little bit of time, and so that was really fun because I get to teach like beginners pole dance, people who've never tried pole in their lives, and just like show them that it can be fun and also like very empowering. Um, but yeah, very different types of dance. But that was some of my experience. And honestly, this is going to be kind of a weird one because this isn't explicitly dance experience, but I do think it helped me like set a foundation for dancing in a group. I used to do martial arts. I used to do wushu in college. And so I did a lot of group set in wushu, and it was a lot of like I'm showing up to practice like multiple times a week. I am training with other people. I am learning choreographed like martial arts sets and doing them in sync with other people. And so like I think that also kind of set a foundation for me for like working in a team and like dancing in a team essentially. It's martial arts, but wushu in particular is kind of like the more performance side of kung fu. So if you've ever watched a kung fu movie, you were probably actually watching wushu, because it's like a little bit flashier. It's a little bit more like your motions are more extended
Exaggerated?
because it
Okay.
looks nice.
Mm, I see.
So it's a form of like martial arts dance
Dance, yeah.
gymnastics almost.
Mm.
So kind of an interesting bit of experience there for me, but I honestly think it helped for like just like learning how to drill things together until you have it all down.
Yeah, because I usually ask this question, like, do you have like any prior experience with like dancing or like vocals? And like some of them take like dance classes or like vocal classes, and then once they do idol, they have to unlearn all those habits that they learned from the classes. With you,
Yeah.
you actually, I guess, took something from wushu and like implemented it, because like you were working in a group and now you're working
Yeah.
with Code Meow, so for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some things transfer more than I think they were going to, I guess. But yeah, I agree of like some things are not at all the same, or some things but yeah, I don't have like I have definitely heard some friends who have like taken ballet, and like yes, I technically took ballet when I was like 6, but I don't remember that. Um and but I have heard from friends who were like in ballet that they're like I have to do this differently than how my body wants to. Like I have to unlearn some of the muscle memory. So, um, yeah, there are some things that I think the muscle memory will carry over for. I think like a lot of the times in like J-pop dances, your hands are either like fists or like hands, open hands, and my hands want to do this every time I am like it's supposed to be an open hand thing because this is where my hands are for wushu. So maybe had to unlearn that one a little bit.
So you talked about like meeting up for the first time, because like everyone else was like all over the place. When you met up for the first time, was there like any difficulty, like, you know, matching energy, or like, because like you were just you were just like learning through lear- You were learning online with other people through their choreo, through recorded video. How different was it from like finally meeting up and actually performing together?
That's a good question. It's interesting because I'm one for the most part for Code Meow, me specifically, I had met most of Code Meow individually before our first big meetup actually. Um, but that not necessarily had danced together with everybody that but I had actually gotten to meet some folks beforehand. And for some people it was like I am meeting an entire room of people for the first time in person ever. So there were definitely some differences there. But in terms of like synchronizing dances, we actually do a lot of work in synchronizing as much as we can before we meet up in person. So um, a lot of our practices online are like we are sending practice videos every month. We are stitching them together in a big collaged version of our uh, dances, and then like pointing out places that we're not in sync or somewhere somebody's doing a move differently or in the wrong direction. So we try as much as possible to synchronize online before we meet up in person. That said, this process is obviously much faster in person once you're all in the same room and you can be like, change that one, we're doing it again. Um, but yeah, we put a lot of work into trying to minimize that kind of friction before we meet up in person. Yeah.
Adding on to that, like you guys do like recorded videos, recorded dance covers, um, and you have like the benefit of it being recorded, right? And you could do like another take if someone messes up. It happens. But like you do another take, another take, another take. You get the good take, upload it. How does it compare to like I guess going a little bit further cuz you guys did a concert full
Mm-hmm.
group at Northwest Idol Fest 2023 Powering Up concert. How different was it performing on stage one take? I mean, like you had rehearsals, but like one take compared to like doing just dance covers online.
Yeah. It's very, very different. I there's I mean, of course there's the obvious like if you mess up when you're filming something, you can just do it again. But and then if you're on stage, there's the stress of like I got to do everything right the first time, but also I'm going to be honest, some of it is a little bit of a relief because it's like if you messed up something, you just keep going and you don't have to go back and correct it because it already happened. But of course there's like I think day of is a lot more stressful because you're like, I got to get everything right for this one performance. Um and like when you're filming, it's very like we're just going to hang out for a little. We're going to film the first half and then let's take a quick break and chill for a little bit and do the second half or um but it's also very different planning wise, I think. So when you're filming something, usually the prep work beforehand is like, okay, I want to film at this location. I want to set up like all of these lights and the camera this way. I want this list of camera angles. I want a close up here. I want to do like a full thing here. And then for stage, it's very different. And yeah, you have people recording, and you like we usually will try to set up somebody filming, um, but it's also like you have to manage like stage transitions. Like, how are we transitioning between songs? Is there a break? Is there no break? Do we need to edit the music to mix together? Where are we going to fit in the MC breaks? Where and for groups, it's also like how are we going to order our set list so that somebody doesn't have 8 dances in a row and get burnt out. So there's a lot of differences for sure. And yeah, but it's also, and I think the way I've been putting it so far, it sounds like stage is worse. Like for on everything, it's like you have to plan all these different things. Like you can't mess up. You can't just like sit and chill in the middle of your song. But it's also like you also get the audience interaction, which is
Right.
wonderful. And it's so great to see people like cheering for you and all these other things. In filming, you don't have that. In filming, you are potentially just looking like a weirdo out in public with a camera. Um, and just like guys, what I'm doing is cool, I swear. Like, some people think this is cool, and I'm like all dressed up, all made up, and look completely out of place in the public setting that I'm in. And I'll do something, and it's very much for myself. And like, I'm filming this because I have a vision and I want this to look cool. Whereas, like, when you're on stage, you get that audience interaction, you get the validation of everybody here thinks that like who's cheering for you is doing that because like they're seeing you live and they think it's great. Um, so yeah, lots of differences.
Going back to the Powering Up concert, cause like when I was like doing research, I asked for like I guess B-roll from like your performances. I watched because you sent me like the like performance of that, and I was like, yay, cool, and like um but like that wasn't the first time Code Meow was at Northwest Idol Fest because like the year before it was 3 members, CM, some other people. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But like they
CM,
did.
Flo, and Ellie were the first Northwest Idol Fest performance that Code Meow had.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like you were part of the cosplay thing and you
Yeah.
won, I think. Yeah, it said on, on there. So I was like, okay. Flashing forward a bit.
Yeah.
2023, Powering Up, did the whole set. How was your experience like on stage? Was that the first time being on stage performing like in front of everyone or no?
As part of Code Meow
Yeah.
or like in general?
Code
Yeah.
Meow.
As part of Code Meow, yeah, that was my first time. Because yeah, as you mentioned, like the year before that, I had like most of my focus that year was my performance with Lilium Stars and our panel performance then. But yeah, 2023 was the first time I'd been on stage with Code Meow. Yeah.
So like how was that performance for you, like in your perspective?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was like lots and lots of planning. Kind of like we talked a little bit about what the prep for that was like, and submitting practice videos for every month for months leading up to the event. And it was nice because it's like a lot of it was like seeing the hard work pay off, and like um, you know, the few days leading up to Northwest Idol Fest, having everybody come early, running practices together for like several hours, and working on like sewing. Like we had like a little group of people. I don't think I did any of the sewing. Some of our other members did the sewing of like finishing up some last touches on costumes. And so it was really nice to like have everybody together. It was like such a different energy in the room once you have everybody with you, as opposed to like coordinating everything online. Like I'm logging onto Discord and sending all of these practice video files and things like that. So it's a very different energy, and it was really nice to see everybody. And the stage part of that was also like, it was so nice to just share this stage with everybody that I'd been working with for so long, for the months leading up to that. And yeah, crowd was amazing. I love the Northwest Idol Fest like audience. They're wonderful and amazingly supportive, and everybody is so cool. And I love also like, it's amazing when you see other idols in the audience too, and you're like, I was just watching your show and yours is really cool. So yeah, and that was really really fun. I have a memory of part of the show. We were doing a transition, and we practiced this transition of, I think it was Nene's zebra solo. And so Nene has a stage for a little bit, and I think at the end of it we're all like sneaking back on, and I said, hey guys, what if I climb on the front of the stage? And they were like, yeah, go for it. And so I'm like ducking around the side during the end of the solo, sneaking back into the crowd. I'm like crouching down kind of low, and I get to the front of the stage, and I just kind of look behind me, and I see like 3 other idols who like performed during the con just staring at me like, what are you doing? And then I just climb up onto the stage. That was really fun.
They were like, what are you doing?
They're like, how did you get here?
So did that, Powering Up, hour long, very interesting. Usually people, I mean, like I saw like this year people usually get like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 if
Yeah.
it's like Northern Lights, but like 30 minutes for main stage.
Mm.
How was it? What was it like for like preparing for an hour?
Yeah. An hour is a long time, but I will say there's also a lot of us. There were a lot of us on stage. There were a lot of like um ways that we'd plan the set list so that we could like, okay, again, you get a break here, I get a break here. Um and we are putting a solo here, we're putting a subunit here just so that like everybody gets some breaks. And so it was really nice actually to feel like because we'd prepared so many songs for that set. There's a number for that. I don't know the number off the top of my head. Um but we prepared for like so many songs for that set, and it was nice to feel like
15
yeah,
songs.
50 songs. Thank you very much. Um but it was nice to feel like we like I think an hour was kind of nice to have like some pace changes as well. It's like we're gonna go really 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 fast, we're gonna chill out for a little bit, we're gonna have like a um cooler edgier song, and then we're gonna jump into like really fast cat themed cute song. And so I feel like it was a lot of time to play with to make a set that was like very dynamic, which was really fun. But also like we had enough people that we could distribute things, so I wasn't like dying by the end of it. I honestly probably was still kind of dying by the end of it, but it was we planned for that as best as we could. Yeah.
So you did Northwest Idol Fest, but prior to that, you did SoCal Idol Fest, which was like 2 months prior. What
Yeah.
was your experience with that?
Yeah, so SoCal Idol Fest was fun, and originally, I was just gonna attend, and I think we didn't have any group performances planned, and so a few of us were like, yeah, we're just gonna go, and then, uh, Paida reached out to CM, because they'd known each other for some time, and Paida was like, hey, can, can you guys like join us for the last song of my set? And she was like, yeah, sure. And like let me see if like people can like learn the dance and all these other things. And so we'd only uh I'm seeing I will get to the comments talking about the speed learning bit here. So we'd only gone in expecting to do one song like at the very end. We're just going to join her for her last song. We had our uniforms and everything. um and then for the rest of Paida's set, she had two backup dancers, and that was going to be with her for pretty much the rest of the set, that she had already pre-planned. And so we were like, okay, cool, we're just joining for the last song, we'll just like try to stay out of the way, like we'll have our uniforms on, it'll be cool. And then I want to say less than 24 hours before SoCal Idol Fest. um the number in my mind is 14 hours, but I might be wrong. So anyway, I'm flying out to SoCal the night before SoCal Idol Fest. I think it was on a Saturday. And I'm in the airport with my bags all packed, and we have an emergency call that's like, hey guys, one of Paida's other main two backup dancers cannot come to SoCal Idol Fest. And we were like, oh, okay. What do you want to do? Like, is like, and we talked a little bit about it, and we were like, it feels a little unbalanced to have like just one backup dancer for all the other songs. But they were like, it was like, what do we do? Like, do we just drop backup for the rest of your set? And then we talked about it, and I was just like, okay, hey, so there's 4 of us in Code Meow here that are like joining here. How many other songs are in your set? And can we all collectively distribute that other dancers' parts to us? So it was a lot. um, and we were like, and Paida was so sweet, and she was just like, I don't want to make you guys do that. Like, that sounds like a lot. And I was like, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try it, and you know what? The worst that happens is I don't finish learning it, and we end up in the same predicament as we were before, essentially. So anyway, I'm in the airport, like waiting for my flight when this call happens, and so I'm like, okay, uh somebody send me the dance references for, and like we distribute the parts somehow, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cover this song, and then this other song I'm gonna try to get to if I can. So I download the songs, the videos of the dances to my phone, like while I still have Wi-Fi, while I'm in the airport. I get on this flight, and I'm learning the dance on the flight, and I am seat belted into my chair. I can't move my legs,
Are you
obviously.
doing like motions, like
I'm pretty much doing the hand motions at my chair. I prop up my phone on like the back of the seat in front of me. I think like thankfully there was something there that I could like prop my phone up onto, and so I have it horizontal. I'm watching the dance references, and I am doing who knows what with my hands, like trying really hard to like keep myself like closed in because I'm on an airplane. I have this much space. And there are people sitting next to me that I don't know.
Are they like, what are you doing?
They didn't even ask.
Okay.
I honestly, I think I was just like, go to sleep. Please go to sleep. I don't want. But anyway, they're next to me, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna not look at anybody because I cannot make eye contact with anyone right now because I will get too embarrassed and stop doing this, and I need to not stop doing this. No, you're right, locked in. So locked in, and I'm in an aisle seat too. I have a very explicit memory of I'm in an aisle seat, and so when you're in an aisle seat, you know that the people behind you in the rows can definitely see you and your screen, what you're doing. I just don't look back. I'm like, I'm not looking. I don't want to see how many people are trying to figure out what I'm doing. I am just gonna learn choreography here in this seat. Honestly, yeah, I think
So
they could, yeah. So definitely entertain some people on that flight. And then I land at like, I don't know, past midnight, the night before SoCal Idol Fest, and I get there, and CM's like, "Hey, we are practicing in this location." I get an Uber to that location, and we are all there at like 1, 2 in the morning, running dances together. And Paida also comes and is like the sweetest because she's like, "You guys really don't have to do this," and I'm like, "I've already learned to dance and a half on the plane."
How so like you were from like Seattle to LAX. It's like
Yeah.
usually a 2-hour flight, so you had like 2-3 hours to like learn that dance.
2 or 3 hours, yeah.
And then you went to like dance practice at like 1 a.m. and like you I guess
Yeah.
like absorbed like most of the knowledge from I guess on the plane or maybe like there. Like, so
Yeah, on the plane, and then it was once I got off the plane and I ended up in that dance room. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna hope that the feet come together for this because I couldn't move my feet on the plane. But yeah, I had like 2-3 hours on the plane, and I remember also on the, it was one of those flights that like you get like free texting or something, like with the free Wi-Fi, and so I'm trying to text for updates, and I'm like, hey guys, did you learn like where are you with this one? Where are you with this dance? And so I'm texting. I remember like being an hour or two in on the plane, and I'm like, I finished one. I'm moving on to the second one. And I'm like, has anyone done this one yet? I'm gonna start that one. And yeah, it was very, very chaotic, but it worked out.
so like that day you did SoCal Idol Fest, you did backing for Paida. How was that? Like final result after all that practice and after like after all that, how was it?
Oh man, after all that, I was just like, man, we really just did that. We really we really just pulled that off. And yeah, Paida was very, very grateful, was very like, I don't know what we would have done with this if you guys hadn't like stepped up and done this. So she was like, she like thanked us a lot. She was really sweet. And yeah, after that I was just like, man, okay, new record for how fast I've learned to dance. And but yeah, like the performance itself was really fun. Everybody was like great. I love the audience. The audience like already knew a lot of the lyrics to Paida's songs, and so I think like that was maybe my first time. Actually, sorry, did I say that the Northwest 2023 was my first time on stage with Mal? I guess technically it was that actually.
Uh,
um,
but like,
but because that would happen before that.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it was really fun, and I guess because that was my like first time being on stage dancing, like and like dancing with another artist. And it was really cool to see like I'm here to support this artist, and I'm here to like, and it's just amazing getting the energy from the crowd of like everybody shouting the lyrics that they know, like you see people in the audience who know the dance to Future Town, and so that was just like a really really cool experience.
I see.
Yeah.
With I don't know, did we talk about this on stream or like before stream? But like, what was your experience with I guess the Kaiga idol scene? Because you did dance covers, which is slightly
Yeah.
separated, but also like kind of in that area. Cause like you also did cosplay idol covers with Lilium Stars, but like what was like
Yeah.
the discovery of like the Kaiga idol scene like?
Yeah, I think it happened around kind of around the time that I was like doing I started with Lilium Stars actually, because Lilium Stars performance was my first idol performance, because that was the first time I went to Northwest Idol Fest, and that was like my actual first stage performance, and it was really cool just like seeing a lot of like Kaigai idols there. And I think that was around the time that I had like just learned what a Kaigai idol is, and I'm just like, yeah, no, like everybody here knows Luca Luca Night Fever. Um, what? Um, but yeah, it was really, really cool because like I was there for that performance, and then I was like watching a lot of other performers. And I got to watch uh, Code Meow that first performance at Northwest Idol Fest too, and that was really cool. Like Northern Lights was really cool. I had seen some of the Kaiga idols like online first. Um, I think I want to say I think I knew of Alex Pinku from the Odotomita scene first, actually, before I like learned anything about Kaigai idols. Um, but yeah, that was kind of my introduction of like, oh, this is what a meet and greet is like. Oh, this is what a checky is, um, and all of that. So I would say like, yeah, Northwest Idol Fest was probably my first time like really feeling the idol culture in person, and I thought that was really really cool. And I was like, wow, all these people are like really good at singing and dancing at the same time. I could never do that. I don't think I'll ever do that. I did.
Segueing into that, getting to know like the Kaiga idol scene, and then I guess like 2022, 2 years later, Otakon 2024, Washington D.C. You make your solo debut as an idol. What was that like? For one, what made you decide to perform solo and become an idol? And two, why across, coast to coast?
So I love this is a great question because I love the answers to this. It feels a little bit silly. So I guess okay, interest in singing in general was like I watched all these idols at Northwest Idol Fest, and I'm like, wow, they're really cool, but man, I could never do that. Um, and you know, I enjoyed. So this is still something that I struggle with. I enjoy singing when I am entirely by myself. I am when there's nobody in the house, when I am driving and nobody else is in the car. I really like it, but not 100% sure where in my life this anxiety started building up, but I have a lot of vocal anxiety of like singing around other people. And so like I think I watch what like Kaigai idols are doing in like Northwest Idol Fest and the idol scene, and I'm like, man, that's really cool. I wish I had the confidence to do that and things like that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. Like, worst that happens is I hate it and I never do it again. You know, the worst that happens is I try it and I decide this is not for me. Um, so the entire venture into starting to try singing was kind of an experiment of like, let me see if I like this or see if I don't. Um, why Otakon is a very interesting story because I'd heard a lot of really, really wonderful things about Otakon. I'd heard that like the idol festivals put on there are like really, really well done. Like there's a lot of amazing idols that show up. The like idol space is very like for idols. And so I'd heard a lot of wonderful things about the idol festivals at Otakon, and I was like, that's really far. I don't think I'd do that. Actually, another member of Code Meow, LES, she actually did Otakon last year, and she also did now presenting the Idol Festival, and I was like, man, that's really cool. And she like did her solo stage, and I was like, man, that looks really fun. And I've heard Ellie's sing before, so I'm like, yeah, I know she's got a really great voice. And I'm like, that sounds cool, but this seems kind of far. I don't know. And I was talking to a few friends, and a group of folks from Lilium Stars were already planning on going to Otakon, because they wanted to apply to their cosplay list idol festival, and I think they'd also heard really good things about Otakon, and so they were like, you should come with us. And I was like, I don't know, it's really far, it's a lot of money. And I was, but like I'd been thinking about it, and I was like really waffling on it for a while. And then the night or the day before Idolfest applications closed, I happened to hop onto Aiden's stream. Aiden, also another amazing Kai Guy idol.
That's my friend.
Yeah. I hopped on the Aiden stream, and I'm like, just like in the chat, and they're on staff for Otakon Idol Space as well. So they were talking about like, yeah, like there's a lot of prep work we're doing. You guys should apply. You guys should apply. And I messaged. I'm just like, Aiden, I don't know. And they're like, do it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So and I was like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And so I applied, and honestly, part of my thinking here was like, the venture into singing is an experiment. And if I try this for the first time and I suck really, really badly, I'm on the opposite side of the country. Nobody there is gonna know me.
Okay. Okay,
So,
I get
okay.
it.
And again, that's not totally true, because of course I show up and I'm like, look at all these amazing Kai Guy idols that I've seen or heard of, or have come to Northwest Idol Fest. And so there's a lot of amazing Kai Guy idols that I did know, and I'm like, okay, so it's not that nobody knows who I am, but it was kind of a concept of like, if I'm gonna mess up, it's not gonna be in my own backyard. If that makes sense.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
So, how was preparing for? I guess like you got accepted. How was preparing for that set like? Did you get like vocal lessons? Did you like know what songs to do? How was that?
Yeah, so I think I picked songs. I can't remember if I picked all my songs beforehand, but I definitely picked at least a couple. I Preparing for that was a lot. So you mentioned vocal lessons. So I did start taking vocal lessons after that. I was like, man, if I'm gonna start singing for the first time, somebody's got to teach me what I'm doing, because I have no idea. So I started taking virtual vocal lessons from Martha, another amazing Kai Guy idol, based in Texas. And so we did these Zoom vocal lessons like every week for some time, and they're wonderful. They're very, very encouraging. I basically went in explaining like, hey, I have a lot of anxiety around singing. I'm not entirely sure why I did this. And they were like, no, it's okay. Like that, like lessons are basically a safe space for you to make whatever weird noises come out of your mouth. So they're wonderful, very, very supportive. No, like I'm honestly amazed how like well they're able to give like specific pointers of like what I should do physically, even when we're just like on a virtual like lesson. And yeah, they've been a really great vocal coach. I'm learning to do still learning to do things like project voice a little bit better, breathing techniques, all of that good stuff. What I love about having a teacher who is also a Kai Guy idol is that they understand very specific Kai Guy idol things. Because one one of the songs that I did for my set was "I" by Canaria, and it's a Vocaloid, like the original vocal on that is a Vocaloid.
Yeah.
It's Gumi, and so I'm like asking for some tips because I'm just like, hey, Gumi is not a person who needs to breathe, right? Like covering any Vocaloid song is um like breathing spots may not be super obvious, and they're very good about like, yeah, Miko doesn't have to breathe. And they had like a lot of like very specific knowledge about like a lot of artists like to mix Gumi this way, and I'm just like, see, I don't think I could find a vocal teacher in person that would know this kind of thing. um So Martha is wonderful, wonderful teacher. Highly recommend. Other preparation things. Yeah, I just like picking the songs for that. I think Nice Type was one of the first songs that I decided on. It was one of the first songs that I started doing in my vocal lessons with Martha. Because I was like, hey, we have a song by a producer that I really like that's in English. Like, gonna be so easy learning the lyrics, right? Um, and then I was really nervous about trying to sing anything in Japanese, because I'm like, I probably have the worst accent, probably have a very, very bad accent, and I don't speak the language. So, I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right. And Martha gives a lot of really great advice for that too. And so I picked, I think the next song I picked was Hysteric Bullet by Garnadelia. My thinking was, this is a song that I've heard 1,000 times because I listened to this. I've watched the dance video for this like maybe 100 times. My thinking is, if I know vaguely what it sounds like because like I don't know the exact lyrics, but I know what the general sounds are and when they happen. And I have watched the choreography a lot. Hopefully it's not that hard for me to learn. I was so wrong. Oh my god. It is a really, really challenging song. It was really fun. And I still really like doing it, but it's a really, really challenging song. And part of the reason I thought it wouldn't be that hard is because like when I'm just doing dance covers, I'm very used to lip syncing, and I can lip sync and pretend that I know what the lyrics are a lot of the time. It can be like, I don't understand what the lyrics are saying, but yeah, exactly.
You can just like
It's like,
mumble.
I know there's an A sound here, so if I can hold that. I know there's an O sound. I know there's an E sound. I can pretend that I know what the lyrics are. At least the vowels. I think I pick up on the vowels more easily than the consonants. And so I was like, learning the lyrics shouldn't be that hard. I know what this song sounds like. And then I'm like sitting in front of the lyrics like I'm trying really, really hard. But yeah, really challenging song. Definitely really, really fun. And so yeah, that was those were kind of how I picked the first couple of songs. I waffled on the third song for a while. I ended up doing "I" by Canaria. I was looking for a song that was a little bit slower, so that I could get a little bit more of a break between two higher paced songs in the middle of the set. Didn't end up being my favorite, but yeah, and I also wanted to do original choreography for at least part of the set. I thought it would be a lot for me to choreograph everything, and I also thought it would be a lot for me to sing and dance every single song. So what I ended up on was like lip sync, like recording my own vocals for the first song, and making choreography for it, but not singing it live. Second song I did sing live and made choreography for, but it was a little bit slower, so it would hopefully not be that hard. And then the third one was live and difficult, but choreography that I did not have to make myself. So that's kind of how I ended up on the deciding what the set list was going to be. And it was yeah, big challenge, probably one of the biggest challenges I've done so far. Yeah.
So, because like Code Meow, it was all dance covers, some lip syncing, with performing like solo and also doing like vocals. How like you said like you had like vocal anxiety, and like I guess you overcame it because like you went through that performance pretty well. So, how how was it like doing vocals for the first time or like singing for the first time in front of a crowd like that?
Scary. Oh my gosh. I was so scared. The night before the performance, like just everything leading up to the performance, I was absolutely terrified. And like I would say I'm still getting over the vocal anxiety. I think I still have some things to work through there, but um something that I have to remind myself is I cannot expect everything to be perfect the first time. Like this is my first time doing this. I can't expect everything to turn out amazing. Like, you know, we have to grow from somewhere, right? Like I just have to put myself out there and try it. So, um but yeah, doing the experience was very very scary, and what was so nice was just like the community is like the idol community is so supportive. Like they're going to cheer for you no matter what, and I love that. And they're um like honestly just such a great like vibe to be around. So um but yeah, I had been for Otakon weekend I was preparing a couple different things because I was also performing with the Liam Stars for the Cosplaylist Idol Festival. So um we like traveled all there together. We all like stayed in like one hotel, and like I'd been with everybody the whole time, and everybody is like they're all my friends. They're great to be around. Um and the Now Presenting Idol Festival was on the Sunday of the convention. So early leading up to that, I'm like, okay, let's enjoy the con. Let's like go see a bunch of other idols perform. It's gonna be great. And then Saturday night, I'm like, okay, guys, I have to go to sound check starting early in the morning. I'm gonna go to bed early. You guys continue doing like con activities until like late in the night, like people do at
Yeah.
conventions. Um, and so I like stay in the hotel by myself that night, and I'm like, okay, cool. I need to go to sleep because I need to wake up in the morning and I need to have energy to do my set. Like very logistically minded. Um, I get ready for bed, and then I'm laying there and I just start crying. I just started bawling, and I'm just like, I don't know what just happened to me. like I um so essentially I just had like an anxiety attack because I was like the entire time, like several days leading up to that point, I had been around people, and I knew that like I was felt pretty okay about like talking about my set with other people, and like, yeah, I've been working on this. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I'm gonna try. Um, but this was the first time I'd been alone, and I think it was the first time that it set in exactly what I was doing, exactly what like I was about to do like the next morning. And so I had an anxiety attack, and I was freaking out, and I was like, okay, I know in my head I'm gonna be fine. Like I know no matter what happens tomorrow, it's gonna be fine. Like I know that logically in my head. Emotionally, I didn't think I would. I guess I did not feel fully emotionally ready for what was about to happen. Um, and so I ended up that night. I called my high school best friend Zippy, who isn't really as active in the idol scene anymore, like or in the Odotomita scene. She really will just pop around and show up when I'm to support me when I go to events and things like that. Um, and so I called her like in the middle of the night, and I'm just like panicking. And she helped talk me down out of it. And she was like, yeah, like tomorrow you're gonna be around other people, and so you're gonna be around like all of your friends and everything, and so it's gonna be fine because like as you said, this whole weekend you've been fine when you're around other people, and also like you're not gonna suck, and it's gonna be great no matter what happens. And so she like pretty much told me everything I needed to hear in that moment. And I think I just needed to distract myself a little bit from like the realization that was setting in. So yeah, very, very scary. And then next morning I got ready, showed up to sound check. All of the other idols that Now Presenting were so wonderful and like really fun to be around backstage. And so there's honestly just like they had the best community there. Idol Space staff is super wonderful and super supportive, and they knew that a lot of folks in Now Presenting were doing this for the first time, and so they were very encouraging. Phoebe was the MC for that, and she was also so sweet. And I'd seen her before at like Northwest Idol Fest and a couple of other events prior, and so she was like, "I know you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be great." And it was such an honor to have her like introduce me for my set. It was kind of incredible, and so yeah, I got up there and just thought about it of like, just pretend I'm in my dance room. Just pretend I'm in my dance room practicing. Just do everything the way I do at home and it should be fine. And it's more than that. Like, of course I can say that just to like calm myself down for the time being, but like it's also like, again, the audience interaction and um people are like, I can spot my friends and I can see all these people with their pen lights and people cheering from directions, and of course the lights are in my face, so I'm like, somebody over there is cheering for me really loud and I don't know who it is. um but really, really wonderful experience overall, and I had such a good time. And yeah, very different from like one, doing it all by myself, and two, like adding the singing component into it. Like lots of things that just amped up the terrifying levels for me.
Well, you did send me like the Otakon performance, and like I watched through it, and you were good. You did good. You did good.
Thank you.
I know,
Thank
like,
you so
yeah,
much.
I didn't know you had like a panic attack, and like,
You wouldn't know from that video. You wouldn't know, but I did post about it on Instagram later when I was doing my recap of like, I had a panic attack before this happened. But everything was okay.
it
And I
was
knew
good. Yeah,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you had people cheering, you had people mixing, you saw
Yeah.
well, like blurs of people with pen lights, but like, yeah, it was
Yes.
good. Like, after all that, was there like anything you could have done differently?
Mm. That's a good question. I think I may have, and I knew going into it that, again, I needed to not expect everything to be perfect. I needed to know not everything was going to be like from the get-go like 100% perfect. But I think one thing I could have done was make this a little easier for myself. I did have choreography for all three songs. Like I didn't make all the choreography for all three songs, but I made choreography for two of the songs, and I thought like, and I've had people tell me like, "Hey, you don't have to sing and dance live for every single song." And I was like, but I think I could do it though. I think I could do it when I was trying to decide like which songs I'd be singing live for. And so I think one thing I would do differently is maybe, especially for my very first time, take it a little bit easier. I kind of set a really high bar for myself, and like I don't regret it necessarily, but I think if I were to have done the entire thing over again, I would have made my very first performance a little bit easier. Maybe pick one song and just be like, "Hey, maybe you can just um what's it called when you don't have dance to a song? Park and bark." Um I think I could have parked and barked for like maybe one song and given myself a little bit of a break. Because I was definitely really, really tired by the end. Training for this set was very like, I think I did as much as I could. Like I trained like not every single day, but like most days in each week leading up to this, and just trying to get my stamina up, trying to do the whole set back to back. But I was pretty out of breath by the end of it. And I think I could have maybe designed my set to be a little bit easier on myself. But yeah, I think I just needed to, I think I felt some need to prove myself of like, know that I could do it. Like I could do both, and I could like have the stamina. I'm like, I could dance this, I can sing this. I should just do both. It's okay to not always do both. I think. I think that's one thing that I would maybe change.
I see. After all that, after the performance, did you want to continue doing like solo idol stuff, or did you want to go back to like, just dances? Like, what was your thought process after like the performance?
Yeah. So yeah, because going into it, I was like, this is an experiment, right? I need to know if I want to do this or I don't want to do this anymore. And I came out of it still with vocal anxiety. Like, it took me a while to watch back the video of myself. It had been like a couple weeks, and they were like, post the video, and I'm like, I haven't watched it because I'm scared. But so I still had some anxiety coming out of it, but more than that, I think I had more ideas for what I wanted to do moving forward. Solo, I was like, wow, I have a lot more ideas for songs I'd be interested in covering, songs I'd be interested in choreographing. I'd already had a lot of ideas for songs I wanted to choreograph, but I think this is the first time I'm like, yeah, I could do this and I can keep doing this. And I do still love group activities like a lot. Like I it's very different performing solo versus in a group, and I think in a group there's a whole dynamic that you don't really find when you're doing by yourself. But it's also a lot of work for different reasons. You have to coordinate and things like that. So I think coming out of that, I still wanted to do both. And I think like there's like the pros and cons of like doing things by myself, because when I'm by myself on stage, there is nothing else for anyone to look at. If I mess up, everybody is already looking at me. And that is a little bit terrifying, but it's also like I I have a little bit more like creative freedom for like what I want to do with something, and if and I feel like I can just make that decision for myself like then and there if I'm doing something solo. And a group, it's like, you know, you want to make sure that like everybody's on board with what you're doing. Sometimes that means you make compromises, but also you can do so many things as a group that you cannot do by yourself. Like, I love group formations. I love like seeing synchronized dances and like playing around with formations and just like getting a whole like dynamic there. And you know, one of the pluses of being in a group, which is why a lot of folks I think start in a group, is that the pressure's a little bit off of you individually. If I'm in the back corner of a formation and I mess up, I can feel pretty okay about hey, I don't think that many people will have seen that. But yeah, so I think there's things I love about both. And yeah, I think I decided coming out of that I had a lot of work to do on vocals still. I still have some way to go in my journey of getting over the vocal anxiety, but this was like a really, really big step, and I think I could just keep going from there. Yeah.
So you did Otakon August. 2 months later leads us to here, Northwest Idol Fest 2024, the final Northwest Idol Fest in Seattle. You are part of the community stage with Amanda Tanadenara, who was in chat, Barry, Misaki, Felix.
Yes.
What made you decide to join that, I guess, like that set of people?
Yeah, so Amanda reached out. I'm participating in a few things on this coming Northwest Idol Fest, but I'll start with that one. But yeah, Amanda reached out, and we talked a lot because we actually live like not too far from each other. Not to dox either of us, but we'd gotten to know each other a little bit since we actually first met. I think like actually got to talking at SoCal Idol Fest. I think that was the first time we actually got to like really talk to each other. Because I'd seen her at Northwest Idol Fest 2022, but I think SoCal Idol Fest was the first time I'd like gotten to really chat, and we were like, oh yeah, we're both based in the Pacific Northwest. We can we're both like relatively new to like actually performing live, and started talking about just like what that's like. I talked to her about like her art and stuff like that, and so like yeah, we get to talking a lot, and also like sometimes she watches my dogs for me. Like just very cool person. And we were like talking about like upcoming performance plans, things that we were planning to apply to. She was really encouraging also when I was applying to Otakon for the first time, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and she was like, I've sung before, like, and so we like actually had one or two times where like we hung out, and I was just like, help me learn how to do this, and we like did a little bit of practicing together, and so she's really sweet. And we were talking about just like ideas for upcoming performances, and she was like, "Hey, I have like this song that I'm doing. I'm actually like interested in having like backup dancers for, and it's a song that she had choreographed by Non-Sweet's Jessica, and so she was like, yeah, like would you like to back up for me on that? And I was like, oh yeah, like if that's okay, like I'm down, like I learned choreography quickly, and but yeah, I'm down, and then she was like, yeah, like I think it'd be good to have like I think two backup dancers if you know somebody else. And I'm just like, well, so happens another member of Code Meow, Felix, who is also in the chat, um, and is also a really big Non-Sweet fan, and also lives in the Pacific Northwest. I think would also be down, and is also an extremely talented dancer. Um, so I we started making plans for that, and then it wasn't until later that I learned that oh, she's like also doing like collaborations with Misaki and with Barry, and I'm just like, great, this is gonna be an awesome time. I'm so excited for all of us to like all of us to be on stage at some point. So it'll be really fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. So that'll be, I think, on Saturday of Northwest Idol Fest. Yeah.
I, well, I'm gonna make it a mandatory thing to like go to every single like idolized guest that I've interviewed, like their panel or like their performance. So I'm definitely gonna go to
Yeah.
yours because like I interviewed Amanda and I'm interviewing you right now. So yeah, so I'm
I
definitely
will see you
going.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Since this is the last Northwest Idol Fest after what 3 years, you attended 2022, 2023, now 2024. What would you say is your favorite memory coming out of it?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of really good memories that came out of every year of Northwest Idol Fest, and I'm really excited for this year as well. But um, I think I can think of a couple. And last year, so Komiya was not was doing our concert, but we also were participating as backup for Paida for Paida's show, and that was also really really fun. I think that was like one of the cooler experiences of like getting to back up, and that was one that we actually got to plan more for instead of me cramming all of my dances on a plane. So once we got to do that for her and like actually have things properly planned out, I think it was really nice just seeing the culmination of how that all came together. Another one of my favorite memories is also got to be the cosplay masquerade for 2022. So there's a little bit of confusion around Northwest Idolfest 2022 because I participated technically in two different groups, but one of them was one of them was a collab group and one of them was Lilium Stars. But the problem was that we were cosplaying the exact same media, so people thought it was the same group the whole time. I feel really bad for that. Project Elf. So at the time this was when my stage name was still Lightning. And we me, LES, and Fee from the UK decided that we were gonna collab together on this song, Beat Eater, and that was really really fun. So we entered to the cosplay masquerade for performance only, because I do not make costumes, but we did that for the masquerade, and that was really really fun. It was like a really short song. Renamed to Earth. Yeah. So yeah, Project Elf is because it's Ellie Lightning Fee, and I now changed my stage name to Rina. So we're like, I think it's still funny to call it Project Elf. And the thing is, because the song we did was Beat Eater, we joked for some time about calling the group Elf Eaters, which just sounds ridiculous. So when we later uploaded the video to YouTube, we just called it Elf Eaters because it was really funny. But yeah, that was really really fun. That experience was really fun for cosplay masquerade, and we ended up winning the performance category, which I did not go in expecting anything. I was just like, I just wanted another opportunity to like be on stage with friends and dancing, but that was really really cool. So a couple of different memories listed there, and I've actually hardly talked about the Lilium panel, which feels like a disservice because that was actually the biggest thing that I was stressed out about that year.
Why,
I
what
was
happened? What happened?
Yeah, it was so that was like my actual first stage, like idol stage was like cosplay idol performance with Lilium Stars. And this was also my first performance with Lilium Stars in general. Like I had just joined the group like earlier that year. And so kind of the reason I was like part of the reason I'm in multiple groups. So like I've kind of talked about the Code Meow origin story, like distributed like Odo to meet the friends, and then we've kind of came to like this like team that's distributed. So around the time I joined Lilium Stars, I think I was really craving an in-person group. I was like, I love this. I love what we're doing. I love planning dances, but my God, online coordination is so hard. I just like I'm just looking for anybody that I can dance with in person. Like, it'd be nice to be able to like hang out and like, hey, let's just hang out next weekend and practice together. Like, we don't have to film. We don't have to like send each other practice videos. Um, and so I ended up like finding Lilium Stars through the Northwest Idolfest server, actually, the Discord server. Somebody from the group was there, and I got recruited into the group, and um, it's interesting because a lot of cosplay idol groups in the area will do Love Live. And I'm going to be so honest, I know much less about Love Live than people think I do. I know. I've learned more over time, but around this time when I was joining Lilium Stars, knew absolutely nothing about Love Live. I did know Project Sekai. And I was told, like, hey, we're thinking of getting a Project Sekai group together. And I'm just like, I'm in, I'll do it. That's great. I love those characters. I like dancing. Let's do it. So that's kind of where I started with Lilium Stars, was as a Project Sekai group, and I'm just like, oh, I guess some of them are into Love Live or something. I don't know. But and then we ended up planning this panel that, through some logistical details that I don't entirely remember, ended up being an hour-long show also, and we were like, okay, we're gonna do an hour-long show. And because I was so excited about it, I ended up project managing it. And so I'm like on everybody for like, all right, we got to learn this dance by this time, this dance by this time. And so like, let's get all the audio together in a Google Drive. And so by the time the day of, I was like so stressed. But I like really liked I really liked that performance, and I was like, man, this is really fun. Like doing like live performances is really fun. And it ended up being worth it in the end anyway. So yeah, that was kind of my first Northwest Idol Fest in 2022. Yeah,
Wow, a lot of people
and
just
oh, the comments.
they don't like they don't know Love Live. Wow, very interesting. Cause
Yeah, Felix and I will share that a little bit. It's and now I've done a Love Life project with Lilium Stars. I've done one Love Life project. Sometimes I lose track. But I've learned a little bit more about Love Life now that I've joined the group, and that like there's a lot of interest in Love Life projects. And it was the leader of Lilium Stars, Kat, was like, hey, I'm doing this project, are you in? And I'm just like, I don't know who are the characters. Like, and she's just like, here, like, you might be one of these characters. And I'm just like, I don't know why I asked. I don't know any of these characters. Sure, I'll do it. And that's how my first Love Live cosplay ended up being Yohane, who is, like, I've come to know somewhat. I honestly haven't watched that much of Aqua's, but I've watched a little bit of Niji. So I know those characters a little bit better. But yeah.
Johan is good. I'm like
Yeah.
I'm mostly into like the original Love Live, but like I've watched Sunset,
Mm.
and like Johan is probably my favorite out of them. So yeah.
Yeah, I know she has her own anime too, and so I
Yeah.
started watching that a little bit. I just know that I know bits and pieces about it. I know there's a very big dog. Um,
So, with like Northwest Idol Fest, a week away,
yeah.
you have that performance with Amanda Tana Donata. Might probably be bleh, probably gonna be like your favorite memory. I don't know of Northwest Idol Fest. Who knows? You can't tell.
I am backing up in another show
Oh,
actually. I don't think I've put this on Twitter, but I think I've put it on Instagram a little bit. This is why I need to make an announcement post. But so on Saturday, I'm gonna be participating in Amanda's show, and on Friday, I'm actually gonna be participating in Flair's show, also as a backup dancer. So yeah, the Flair duo. I'm really really excited for that too. That'll be fun. Yeah.
I interviewed Alex Pinku like what episode 3? That was like May, and
Oh
like this is
yeah.
gonna be like the first time seeing them perform,
Yeah.
and then also with Flair. So I'm hyped. I'm
Yeah.
also hyped to see you as a backup dancer. So
I will also be there. So, yeah. Yeah, I know you said you wanted to see all your idolized guests anyways, and so if you'll be there. So it's yeah, Friday night is gonna be Flair's set. So Alex Pinku and Sonadira, both wonderful people. I got to hang out with them both a little bit at Otakon as well. So got to talk to them. They're very cool. I'm really excited for their set. They have a new song. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
speaking of new songs, do you have any plans to do an original song?
This is a great question. I have thought about it, but I don't have any specific plans in motion yet. I have like very little music composition experience. I like know music theory decently well, but like also that comes from being a um Asian American who was forced to take piano for 10 years. Um
I get
um
it.
so, I like in terms of like making music, reading music, I have some experience doing that. I also like I've played a couple instruments in the past. I played flute for some time. I did percussion, like I did like essentially marching band percussion, but like not for marching band. We called it winter percussion. I don't know if there's another term for it, but um anyway, some music experience, but like and I did take like AP Music Theory in high school, and I had to compose something for one of my final projects for that. I did a piano. I made a piano violin duet, which is never going to see the light of day. Um, I recently found the video for it. It's pretty bad. Actually, I had Zippy play the violin part of that, which is very funny. But yeah, I've thought about it. I know not that much about like pop music production. Have I follow some really like big J-pop producers that I like watch and be like, wow, that's really cool. Um, but yeah, I don't have a lot of specific experience making music, but I've thought about it. Yeah.
I've seen like, I guess like some of the All idols that I've interviewed, they've had original music, but they also like commissioned a producer to like help them out with
Yes.
like stuff. So you could do that.
Yeah, that's a possibility too, and I know there's some amazing like producers that can be commissioned. I know there's like some folks that I've like in the Kaigai idol scene, I'll see like folks like help each other out with things and get commissioned for like mixing, like instrumentals, that kind of thing. I follow I think a couple of folks. I mean Aiden produces a lot of things themselves. I follow Jemmy Memu, also very, very, very cool. Yeah, definitely something I could probably, if I did it, I'd probably need at least something commissioned because I know I cannot do all of that myself the first time through.
What was it? I know like you just like 2 months ago you did like your first solo performance, but we have a lot of I guess idols that just debuted, wanting to debut, I usually ask this to like every single guest. Do you have like any general advice for any idols that are like upcoming? And I'm gonna like add an addendum. Do you have like any dance advice for idols since you
Ooh.
are part of a dance group and
Okay.
also do a lot of dances?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think like dance specific advice is a really good question. I think a lot of one question I think I've gotten a lot is like, how do you learn choreography? Like, how do you learn something that you've just seen on a video online and like make that happen in real time? And so I think my biggest tips for that are like slow it down as much as you need to. It is and like I have like a specific Chrome extension that I recommend to everybody called Mirror Tube. That's like my favorite thing. It mirrors things for you. It slows things down. You can loop specific parts over and over again. Um, I will say one thing about like how I learned dances, I think is very similar to how I was trained when I did my 10 years of piano, which is like just go over the same section over and over again as many times as you need to. And for me, that was like go over it at a slower speed and keep doing it until you can do it right without mistakes 3 times in a row. And then you can bump up the speed a little bit. And if you need to slow it down more, you can slow it down more. Um, so those are like very like granular, like this is how I learn choreography tips. And it's very like do not move on to the next section until you're done. Um and then yeah, you'll just like eventually learn it from top down because that was exactly how I learned every piano piece was take the first 2 measures, do it really, really slow, and then keep doing that, and then until you get to full speed, and then move on. Um, so that's kind of like how I learn things. But like, um, yeah, that's one of the questions I get for like learning dances. It's just like, how do you do it? It's like just repeat as many times as you need to. It's like and slower, mirrored, um, and having an extension that or a mirrored version of things is so much easier than trying to like mirror what you're the person on the screen is doing. Since yeah, that's kind of like comes from where I started on like classic odotamita, like we're all just dancing in our rooms watching each other's videos on YouTube. um but yeah, I think that's like kind of it's like weirdly specific advice for dancing. And I think overall like just kind of what I was having to tell myself earlier when it came to me doing my first solo set was like don't expect everything to be perfect the first time. It's okay. Like it's okay to make the mistakes. It's okay for like to have a starting place that for you to grow from because I think I tend to be pretty hard on myself sometimes, but as hard as I am on myself, sometimes I will see other idols out there who are being even harder on themselves about um like not getting everything right, and it's like oh man, I'm just not like talented, I'm just not like a natural at this, like this just doesn't come naturally to me. This doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, and that's like where the practice comes in. And it's where like you it's really hard to go into something that you've never done before or and expect yourself to do it as well as the people that you're trying to learn from. Like that's not a realistic expectation. So um it's okay to mess up. It's okay to not be perfect. That's my general advice, I think.
With that, I guess. Ooh, how do I want to like order this? You know what? Whatever. I'll do it now. What would the current you, the present day you, tell the you that was starting to do dance covers back in 2015? What would you tell them?
Ooh. It's a good question because I don't want to like put pressure on my younger self, you know, to be like this is going to turn into a whole career. Like no, 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 like I think that would stress me. I think like starting from where I was, like I was just doing it for fun. And I think I like thinking back on it, I guess I would the only thing I would like tell myself is like do this for for you. Like, do as much of this as is still fun for you. Like, you're like, don't worry about like what other people are thinking of it. Don't worry about like, you know, the friends that you are going to make in this hobby are going to come. That's the other thing I would probably say, is that like I think back then, like, it was so hard to find people with the same interest, and I'm just like, oh, this person does this person does dancing too, but they live really far. This person, like, I'm gonna watch these people on YouTube. And like, I have a several YouTube playlists that I've saved of dances that I like, that I've been interested in. And I had one that was like, and in Elements, when I was in it, was only 4 people. So I was like, okay, maybe dances up to 4 people I can maybe get my high school friends in on. But anything more than that, like, I have a playlist called Squad Goals 5+ people. Because in my mind, I was never going to make that many friends who were going to be doing this with me. I was like, that's not going to happen. So I think one thing I would say is like, the friends in this hobby will come.
Yeah.
There will be more. You are not the only one doing this, and so as long as you're having fun doing it, keep doing it. I think I would say that.
I guess like one more question. What do you plan on doing like after Idol? Like after whenever this you want to step away, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I've thought about like how long am I going to be doing this for, right? Because it's like I don't think I'm that old, but I have noticed when it comes to the idol community, especially the cosplay idol community, I'm definitely on the older side here. And so I'm like, man, is there, and it gets you thinking about like, man, is there an age cap for this kind of thing, for like doing this? How long am I going to do this for? But you know, some of my favorite like Japanese ororite are like in their late 30s and still doing this. And like, even that, I'm like, that's not even that old. Like, you've still got a lot of life left. So I'm like, you know, I don't know how long I'll be doing this for. It's really, really hard to like do this indefinitely. Like, idol activities cost money. Costumes cost money. Traveling costs money. And so it's like, I know that I've pretty much come to terms with, I don't know if I'll ever be doing this like at a profit, you know? I don't think that's reasonable expectation. I'm doing this as long as I'm having fun with it. But I think, so I guess I don't know what age I'll be when I stop doing this. That said, I think one thing I've like thought about, and this is like far, far future, I don't even know if this will be still my interests at the time, but when I was started teaching pole dance, actually, when I was like, oh, I'm gonna like be a dance instructor, I'm like, and of course it's a very different type of dance, but it's very like, I'm teaching, I'm getting new people into the hobby, I'm getting people started, I'm helping people find confidence in themselves to do this new activity. I think an idea that came up was like starting a dance studio. And like, I don't know how reasonable that is, to be honest. And I do have like I do have like a day job that like obviously I'm not doing this full time. Like, I do have a day job, so it's like, it'll depend on where that career takes me also. And like how much time I'm gonna have. But like later on, I think it would be nice to keep doing like being in the dance community in some way or another. I think like it would be cool to have a place where people can keep like finding confidence in themselves through dance. And I don't know exactly what kind of dance that's going to be, because, you know, I don't know if there's much of a demand for like J-pop dance classes. I know there are K-pop dance classes. That's the thing, and that I have seen. But yeah, I don't know, but that's an idea I've been bouncing around. And it's cool to like have a place where you can kind of foster a local community too, which I think is something that I was missing a lot of when I first started this. So Yeah.
I want to see. I guess I want to see that J-pop dance studio, and I also want to see that pole dance studio if it happens. But like, I'm hopeful that
Yeah,
you do
we'll
it.
we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how many years it'll be and whether that'll still be my goals, but I'll, get back to me in like 10, 15 years and see what I'm doing.
I think this concludes this episode of Idolize, but we, of course, have a episodic tradition of something called the worst pep talk ever, where for 1 minute I give me, Eggy Drago, stupid name, give the guest a pep talk for 1 minute, and it's always the worst thing ever. So here we go.
I highly doubt that, but I think it'll be great.
1 minute. Rina, you even though you started out like 2 months ago as a solo, you did really good in your Otakon performance, despite the anxiety, despite everything that happened. You did well. You did very good, and I'm really hopeful to see you perform as a soloist whenever the time happens. I don't know if you're gonna perform as a soloist during Amanda's set. I don't know, but like, yeah, oh man, I want to see you perform. So, with Code Meow as a soloist, whatever, I'll see you at Northwest Auto Fest. But, I love the original choreo. Your vocals are great. Over time, it's always, like every single idol, has that start. And then over time, they're good. But like, starting out, you did really good. So, yeah. What else? I love the original choreo. The stuff that you do with Code Meow is like the bits and pieces that you do for Code Meow for like the covers and like the improvisation. Even for Reversible Campaign, I think you did some original choreo. I don't know, but like it's good. No, never mind. The other videos, the other stuff that you're credited in, good. And I want to see more original choreo. And yeah, that's all I can say. And I'm very excited to see you at Northwest Idol Fest. I said that before, but yeah, minute 28.
Yay.
But yeah,
Thank
it's always
you.
always the worst, always the worst.
That's not the worst at all. That was very sweet. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm excited to see you at Northwest Idol Fest too. I'm glad. I'm glad I'll see you there.
Thank you. Before I end this episode, this will be the last episode before Northwest Idol Fest. Next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Northwest Idol Fest. I don't want to do an episode on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I want to chill out. I want to prepare for Northwest Idol Fest. This has been something I've been waiting for the past, 6-7 months since I got into the scene. Since I got, when I went to Japan, I got interested in idols, and now I created IDOLEYEZ because, what was it? Because I met Tabaru Gumi and I talked to her, and, her speaking English, and like we talked, and like all this happened interviewing every single idol that I've had on the show, like you, like Amanda, like Jelly, everyone. I think like a bulk of everyone on this show is gonna be at Northwest Idol Fest, so I'm so excited to see everyone perform. I'm so excited to see my Kamiyoshi after 6 months, and I know she's gonna watch this. She usually watches the VODs whenever, so hi Gumi, whenever you see this. But
I'm so excited to see Gumi.
I'm so excited to see everyone, cause like, oh my god, there's a spam bot. I need to do that. I need to kick that.
Oh no.
But yeah, like honestly, this is the biggest event for the Kaiga idol scene in the US. A lot of international people coming in too. I just want to have a good time, and I know I'm probably gonna have a good time. I know everyone else is gonna have a good time. And yeah, that's all. That is it. I just want to see everyone perform. I want to have that energy back, being in Japan, watching everyone on stage, and then the calls and mixes, the chanting. It's intoxicating, I guess. I don't know.
The Northwest crowd is very, very good at calls and mixes. I enjoy it a lot. I know it's not going to be the same as what you've experienced in Japan, but I think it's pretty good. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, that's about it. So no idolize next week because I want to chill at Northwest Idol Fest. I want to meet everyone and I want to see everyone. I want to take Chucky with everyone. So yeah, justifiable reason that there's no episode next week. But yeah, that concludes this episode of Idolize. Concludes this arc, this Northwest Idol Fest arc. But after Northwest Idol Fest, I'm probably gonna get a bunch of people that debuted at Northwest Idol Fest, and we're gonna call it Northwest Idol Fest Revenge. You know, people just interview people about their debut experience at Northwest Idol Fest. Some people that just, I guess, like first time performing in the U.S. So, it's gonna be pretty cool, pretty neat. But this concludes this arc. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rina. Long day. Thank you so much for being the final guest for the Northwest Idol Fest arc. Thank you for everyone that participated and accepted the invite to be on Idolize during this arc. Pawn Ranger, doing this on the top of my head. Pawn Ranger, Jelly, Melancholia, Sherry Ife, Amanda Tane Donata, and Rina Kiden. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I can't wait to see everyone at Northwest Idol Fest. And that concludes this episode. So,
Thank you so much for having me. Can I do like a really quick plug, just a recap of everything I'm going to be in at Northwest? So Northwest Idol Fest, on Friday, I will be participating in Flair's set. Like they're doing some new music, so come out and check that out. Friday evening. Saturday, I will be participating in Amanda's set in the graphic, right there, that graphic. That is Amanda's set. That's going to be on Saturday. And on Sunday, oh my gosh, I think I barely mentioned this on the stream, but on Sunday, Code Meow is hosting a random dance play. So come out and come dance to all of your favorite classic J-pop. It's going to be a mix of classics and some newer stuff. If you know the dance, come jump in or just come watch and hang out. But yeah, that is everywhere that I will be at Northwest Idol Fest.
And that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for everyone who watched. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching the VOD. Hi. And we'll see everyone at Northwest Idol Fest. So take care, brush your hair, be kind, rewind. We will be going to the ending screen.